The quantum resonance chamber trembled with the first signs of catastrophic failure. Queen Xia felt the vibration before she heard it, a microscopic tremor that spoke of imminent destruction more eloquently than any alarm could. Centuries of imperial training had prepared her for countless scenarios, but not this. Not a complete systems collapse in the most remote sector of the known galaxy. Holographic displays flickered around her, a kaleidoscope of failing diagnostics and desperate computational attempts to stabilize the ship's core systems. The Celestial Imperium's most advanced vessel, a living testament to millennia of technological evolution, was dying beneath her feet. The mission had seemed routine, a diplomatic traverse through disputed star clusters, gathering intelligence on emerging civilizations at the galaxy's edge. Intelligence reports had been meticulously compiled, potential risks calculated to the 9th decimal point. Yet something had gone terribly wrong. A cascade of quantum entanglement failures began to ripple through the ship's biological-mechanical infrastructure. The living hull, a marvel of genetic engineering that could self-repair and adapt, now shuddered like a wounded beast. Biomechanical tendrils that normally pulse with vibrant energy began to calcify, turning brittle and unresponsive. Containment protocols are failing, announced the ship's sentient navigation system, its voice a calm modulation that belied the catastrophic circumstances. Quantum matrix destabilization imminent. Survival probability 0.003%. Xia mind raced through potential escape vectors. The ship's emergency quantum displacement drive was their last hope, a technology so advanced it could theoretically translate the entire vessel across vast distances in milliseconds. But the quantum matrix was collapsing, and with it, any chance of a controlled translation. What the Queen didn't know was that the failure had begun hours earlier, deep within the ship's most secure computational cores. A microscopic quantum virus, something between a technological infection and a living algorithm, had been slowly dismantling the ship's defensive systems. It was a weapon of such sophisticated design that it could only have been created by a civilization far more advanced than any in the current galactic registry. The bridge around her transformed. Walls that were once a seamless blend of organic and mechanical materials began to crack and splinter. Holographic interfaces erupted in cascades of fractured light, displaying impossible mathematical sequences that seemed to dance and mock the very concept of technological stability. "Prepare quantum translation," Xia commanded, her voice steady despite the chaos. Royal training meant maintaining composure even as the universe itself seemed to be unraveling around her. The navigation system's response was instantaneous but fragmented. Translation parameters compromised. Destination calculations impossible. Recommended action. Emergency quantum scatter. Emergency quantum scatter. The word sent a chill through even her genetically enhanced nervous system. It was a last resort protocol that would effectively scatter the ship's quantum signature across multiple potential realities, with less than a fractional chance of successful reconstruction. A violent shudder ran through the ship. External sensor arrays began to detach, spinning away into the infinite darkness of space, like mechanical petals torn from a dying flower. The quantum resonance chamber, the ship's very heart, started to collapse inward, creating a gravitational anomaly that defied every known law of physics. In that moment of absolute chaos, something unexpected happened. A single computational thread, buried deep within the ship's most protected memory banks, found an improbable solution. The navigation system's final act was not surrender, but an impossible calculation. Translation initiated, the system announced. Destination: uncharted planetary system. Probability of survival: 0.00001%. The quantum displacement drive erupted. Reality itself seemed to fold, twist, and then, with a silence more profound than any sound, the ship vanished. What remained was nothing more than a rapidly expanding cloud of quantum-charged particles, drifting toward an unremarkable blue-green planet in a forgotten corner of the galaxy. a planet whose inhabitants had no idea that their world was about to become the stage for an encounter that would redefine the very understanding of technological potential. The Alpine Research Station hummed with quiet intensity, a fortress of technology nestled among snow-capped peaks that seemed to touch the sky. Kai Rodriguez moved between monitoring stations, his movements precise and calculated. Most people saw a search and rescue specialist. Those who knew him understood he was something far more complex, a problem solver whose mind worked like an intricate mechanical system. Outside, the mountain wilderness stretched in pristine silence. Sensor arrays, a network of cutting-edge detection equipment Kai had personally designed and installed, monitored everything from seismic activity to atmospheric anomalies. It was more than a job. It was a calling that merged his backgrounds in extreme environment engineering, quantum physics, and emergency response. The first anomaly appeared at 3:47 hours. A series of impossible readings cascaded across his primary monitoring screen. Quantum signature disruptions that defied standard computational models. Gravitational fluctuations that seemed to bend the very fabric of local spacetime. Kai's fingers flew across holographic interfaces, isolating and analyzing each bizarre data point. "This isn't natural," he muttered, pulling up multiple layers of computational analysis. The research station's advanced systems began to react. Quantum detection arrays that Kai had custom-built started to resonate with frequencies never before recorded. Electromagnetic interference created ghost patterns across multiple monitoring screens. Something was arriving, or had already arrived, that existed beyond conventional understanding. Kai's background was not typical for a mountain research specialist. Years of working in extreme environments had taught him that the universe was far more complex than most people understood. His doctorate in quantum mechanics complemented years of practical experience in search and rescue operations. He'd tracked lost expeditions in the Himalayas, managed rescue operations in Siberian wilderness, and developed detection systems that pushed the boundaries of current technological understanding. The seismic sensors suddenly spiked. Not a typical earthquake. Not a meteor impact. Something else entirely. Kai's emergency response training kicked in. He activated the station's secure communication protocols, isolating the facility from external networks, while simultaneously preparing advanced monitoring equipment. Whatever was happening would be documented with scientific precision. A holographic topographical map materialized, showing the surrounding mountain terrain. A perfect circular disruption appeared, a quantum signature so complex that it seemed to exist in multiple states simultaneously. Standard detection methods would have missed it entirely, but Kai's custom systems caught every microscopic detail. "Quantum scatter," he whispered, recognizing the theoretical phenomenon he'd only discussed in academic papers. The mountain wilderness transformed. Where moments before there had been pristine snow and ancient rock, now existed something that challenged the very concept of physical space. Quantum particles danced at the edge of perception, creating a landscape that was simultaneously there and not there. Kai's emergency kit was already prepared. Not the standard rescue equipment most would expect, but a carefully curated collection of tools that bridged multiple scientific disciplines. Quantum detection modules, advanced medical stabilization equipment, custom-built interfaces that could interface with technologies far beyond current human understanding. He moved with the practiced efficiency of someone who had prepared for impossible scenarios their entire life. The research station's external cameras captured something extraordinary. A quantum signature began to resolve, first as a mathematical probability, then as a physical manifestation. Something was materializing. Not crashing, not falling, materializing. Kai Rodriguez stood at the window, watching a technological miracle unfold. Whatever was happening represented something far beyond a simple rescue operation. This was first contact. This was the moment that would change everything. The mountain seemed to hold its breath. And then, something arrived. The alpine meadow transformed into a landscape of impossible geometry. Quantum fragments scattered like liquid crystal, creating patterns that defied conventional physics. Kai Rodriguez moved with calculated precision, his specialized detection equipment an extension of his own analytical mind. What lay before him was unlike anything documented in human scientific records. The crash site was not a typical impact zone. Instead, it represented a quantum event, a moment where multiple realities seemed to overlap and intersect. Technological fragments created a three-dimensional puzzle that would challenge the most advanced computational systems on the planet. Kai's first observation was counterintuitive. This was not destruction. This was transformation. Each fragment carried a quantum signature that pulsed with an almost living energy. Metallic structures that seemed to breathe and shift, molecular compounds that existed in multiple states simultaneously. The debris field was less a remnant of a crashed vessel and more like a complex, living system that was actively reorganizing itself. His custom-built quantum detection array began to map the site. Layers of holographic interfaces erupted around him, creating a three-dimensional computational landscape that translated the impossible into something marginally comprehensible. Years of extreme environment engineering and quantum research had prepared him for scenarios most scientists would consider pure fiction. Quantum scatter successful, a faint computational whisper emerged from the wreckage. Not a human voice, not entirely mechanical, something in between. Kai approached carefully, his protective suit designed to interface with unknown technological environments. Each step triggered microscopic sensors woven into the fabric of his equipment. Information flooded his heads-up display, molecular compositions, energy signatures, quantum flux patterns that danced at the edge of human understanding. The first intact fragment he recovered seemed to pulse in his hands. Not a static piece of technology, but something that responded to his touch with intricate molecular reconfiguration. It was simultaneously a piece of advanced machinery and a living system, blurring the lines between technology and organic life. His communication systems crackled to life, but not with any standard frequency. This was something else entirely. A quantum communication protocol that existed in multiple dimensional layers simultaneously. Biological stabilization required, the fragment whispered, not in sound, but in a computational pulse that translated directly into his neural interfaces. Kai understood immediately. This was not just a technological rescue. This was a biological emergency of unprecedented complexity. The meadow around him continued to shift. Quantum particles created impossible geometries, bending light and space in ways that would challenge the most advanced theoretical physicists. What appeared to be debris began to reorganize. Molecular structures reaching out, reconnecting, attempting to rebuild something that defied conventional understanding of technological reconstruction. His emergency medical kit, a custom-designed system that merged advanced biotechnology with quantum stabilization protocols, came into play. Each component was a marvel of human engineering, designed for scenarios that existed at the bleeding edge of scientific possibility. Kai Rodriguez was not just a rescue specialist. He was a bridge between human potential and something far more complex. The quantum fragments began to resolve, not into a typical spacecraft, not into a standard technological construct, but into something that existed between states of matter and energy. A living system that was simultaneously a vessel, a computational matrix, and a biological organism. And at the center of this impossible landscape, something began to emerge. The first signs of life. Not human, not entirely mechanical. Something extraordinary was about to awaken. Consciousness returned in fragments. Quantum-threaded neural pathways struggled to reconnect, fighting against the intrusive biological systems of an alien environment. Queen Shilin's awareness flickered between multiple states of existence, each moment a battle against complete molecular disintegration. The first sensation was unexpected. Warmth. Not the sterile, regulated temperature of imperial medical chambers, but something more complex. Organic. Imperfect. A heat that carried the subtle scent of pine resin, machine oil, and something distinctly alive. Her eyes, Biological sensors far more advanced than human optical systems struggled to focus. The environment defied her internal computational mapping. Rough wooden surfaces, custom-fabricated medical interfaces that looked simultaneously primitive and ingeniously adapted. Soft natural light filtering through windows that overlooked a landscape of impossible beauty. A human moved within her field of vision. Not a medical drone. Not a programmed caretaker. A living, breathing organism whose movements spoke of calculated precision and intuitive understanding. Kai Rodriguez worked with a methodical intensity that would have impressed even the most advanced imperial medical systems. His hands moved between quantum stabilization modules, custom-built medical interfaces, and organic treatment systems that seemed to bridge multiple technological paradigms. Quantum cellular reconstruction is critical, Kai muttered, adjusting a device that looked like a hybrid between a medical scanner and a precision engineering tool. Cellular degradation at 63%. Quantum matrix destabilization imminent. Most medical systems would have declared her beyond recovery. The quantum scatter had fragmented her biological systems in ways that should have been fatal. Yet here she was, stabilizing, recovering. The medical interface Kai had constructed was nothing short of miraculous. Quantum entanglement modules interacted with her biological systems, using principles that existed at the bleeding edge of human medical understanding. He wasn't just treating her. He was engaged in a complex dialogue with her molecular structure. Xiaolin's imperial training fought against the vulnerability of her current state. Centuries of diplomatic conditioning struggled against the raw, unfiltered reality of her situation. A human, a species her civilization had categorized as technologically nascent, was keeping her alive through sheer computational creativity. Your quantum matrix is unlike anything in our medical databases, Kai said, his voice a mixture of scientific curiosity and practical concern. The cellular reconstruction requires a multi-dimensional approach. Each intervention was a calculation, each movement a delicate dance of technological improvisation that challenged everything she knew about medical science. The medical systems he used were not advanced by imperial standards. They were advanced by any standards. A quantum stabilization module, clearly custom-built, pulsed with an energy that seemed to communicate directly with her cellular structure. Kai had created something that bridged biological and technological boundaries in a way her own civilization had never achieved. Cellular regeneration at 47%, a soft computational voice announced. Not from imperial medical systems. From equipment Kai had assembled from what appeared to be repurposed technological components. Her body was healing. But more than that, it was transforming. The imperial medical augmentations that had defined her existence were being rewritten, not replaced. Adapted, enhanced, by a species her civilization had barely considered worthy of serious scientific study. Kai Rodriguez was not just a medical technician. He was a living translation device, converting the impossible into the probable with each calculated intervention. As consciousness fully returned, Queen Xiaolin understood something profound. Survival was not about technological superiority. It was about adaptability, about seeing potential where others saw only limitations. And in this moment, a human from a primitive planet was rewriting everything she understood about medical science, survival, and the nature of technological evolution. The workshop defied conventional understanding. What appeared to be a simple mountain research facility was, in reality, a cathedral of technological innovation. Walls lined with custom-built interfaces, shelves populated by devices that blurred the line between scientific equipment and artistic expression. Each tool, each component told a story of human ingenuity. Queen Xiaolin observed from a partially restored medical station, her quantum-enhanced perception picking up details that would escape most biological systems. Kai Rodriguez moved through the space like a conductor orchestrating a complex technological symphony. "We need to rebuild your quantum navigation core," Kai muttered, spreading out a collection of components that seemed impossibly mismatched. A satellite communication array from a decommissioned weather monitoring system. industrial-grade cooling modules typically used in high-performance computing centers, quantum resonance interfaces cobbled together from components that were never meant to interact. To the untrained eye, it looked like chaos. To Xia-Lin, it was something far more profound. Kai's hands moved with a precision that spoke of decades of practical experience. He wasn't just repairing. He was reimagining. Each component was carefully examined. Its potential expanded beyond its original design. A discarded telecommunications module became a quantum signal amplifier. An industrial cooling system transformed into a complex thermal regulation network. Your ship's original navigation system used a quantum entanglement matrix, Kai explained, more to himself than to his alien patient. But the fundamental principles can be recreated using more adaptive technologies. The Queen watched in growing fascination. Imperial repair protocols would involve sending the vessel to specialized restoration facilities. Kai was doing the impossible, rebuilding an advanced interstellar vessel, using what appeared to be technological scraps. Custom-built computational interfaces came to life. Holographic projections erupted around Kai's workspace, creating a three-dimensional map of the ship's quantum signature. It was less a repair and more a resurrection. Quantum matrix stability is the key, Kai continued, connecting components that seemed to defy logical integration. Your technology relies on precise quantum entanglement. We can recreate that using principles of adaptive computational networks. Each intervention was a masterclass in improvisation. A satellite communication chip became a quantum signal translator. An old graphics processing unit was repurposed to manage complex quantum calculations. Cooling systems designed for terrestrial supercomputers became thermal regulators for alien technological components. Xia-Lin's quantum-enhanced perception began to understand. This wasn't just repair. This was a complete technological reimagining. Your methods, she finally spoke, her voice a complex harmonic that carried both biological and technological undertones. They should not be possible. Kai looked up, a slight smile crossing his face. Possibility is just a failure of imagination. The workshop became a living organism of technological potential. Custom algorithms danced across holographic interfaces. Quantum components that should have been incompatible found new ways of communicating. It was less engineering and more a form of technological poetry. By midday, what had been a collection of seemingly random components began to take shape. Not a replica of the original ship, something new. Something that combined Imperial quantum technologies with human adaptive engineering. First-generation quantum translation matrix, Kai muttered, connecting a final component. Completely custom, entirely unprecedented. The quantum resonance that emerged was unlike anything in the known galactic records. It was a technology that didn't just repair, it transformed. A testament to human potential that challenged every existing technological paradigm. Queen Xia-Lin realized something profound in that moment. Technological superiority was not about advanced starting components. It was about the ability to see potential where others saw only limitations. And in this mountain workshop, human potential was rewriting the very understanding of technological innovation. The first warning came as a quantum resonance pulse that rippled through the mountain research station. Kai Rodriguez felt it before any of his sophisticated equipment could register the incoming threat. Something was approaching. A technological signature that carried the weight of interstellar bureaucracy. The Celestial Imperium's recovery team was not what anyone would expect. They arrived not with overwhelming force, but with a precision that spoke of centuries of calculated intervention. Their approach was a quantum translation. One moment empty mountain wilderness, the next, a perfectly organized extraction team. Queen Xia-Lin's quantum-enhanced perception went into immediate overdrive. Her partially repaired biological systems recognized the signature immediately. Recovery protocols, extraction, containment. But something was different this time. Kai moved with a calm that would have impressed even the most seasoned Imperial operatives. His workshop, now a hybrid of human innovation and alien technology, stood as a testament to something far more complex than a simple crash site. The first Imperial drone materialized exactly 2.3 meters from the workshop's primary entrance. Its quantum signature was a perfect geometric pattern, designed to penetrate any known defensive system. Kai's custom interfaces, however, were anything but known. Incoming quantum penetration, a soft computational voice announced. Not from Imperial systems. From equipment Kai had assembled from repurposed components. The drone's initial scan met something unexpected. Not resistance, not defense, something far more complex. Kai's interfaces began to dance, not in defense, but in communication. The Imperial recovery team had approached expecting a simple extraction, a damaged vessel, a compromised queen. Standard protocol would involve immediate quarantine, complete technological suppression, and a comprehensive memory wipe. What they found defied every established protocol. The workshop's quantum interfaces began to pulse, not with defensive energy, but with something far more dangerous: information, adaptation, potential. Each Imperial scanning module found itself confronted with computational pathways that rewrote themselves faster than the scan could complete. It was less hacking and more a form of technological dialogue. Human ingenuity meeting Imperial technological sophistication in a dance of pure computational creativity. Quantum matrix is stabilizing, Kai muttered, adjusting a custom-built interface that looked like a hybrid between a scientific instrument and a work of art. Adaptive response protocols engage. Queen Xia-Lin watched with growing fascination. The Imperial recovery team was discovering something profound. This was not a simple crash site. This was a moment of technological transformation. The first Imperial operative to physically enter the workshop found something entirely unexpected. Kai Rodriguez stood at the center of a technological landscape that defied every Imperial classification system. Holographic interfaces pulsed with quantum signatures that rewrote themselves in real time. The partially reconstructed alien vessel was no longer just a damaged ship. It was a living testament to human adaptive potential. Unauthorized technological modification detected, the Imperial operative's communication implant announced. But the tone was wrong. Less a declaration of threat, more a sound of profound confusion. The operative's advanced scanning systems encountered layer after layer of computational complexity. Each interface Kai had constructed carried multiple levels of adaptive programming. What appeared to be simple repair components were actually sophisticated translation devices that could interpret and modify quantum-level information. Queen Xia-Lin observed the interaction with growing fascination. The Imperial recovery protocols, designed to be absolute and unquestionable, were being rewritten in real time, not through force, through pure, unadulterated problem-solving. Kai's hands moved across custom interfaces, creating computational pathways that seemed to breathe with living intelligence. He wasn't just defending. He was communicating, showing, demonstrating. The Imperial team had arrived expecting a simple extraction. They found a technological paradigm shift. Your classification systems are linear, Kai explained, his voice calm and matter-of-fact. Our approach is adaptive. Every component can be more than its original design suggests. Quantum scanning modules began to overheat, not from external interference. From the sheer complexity of the computational landscape they were trying to analyze, Kai had created something that existed between technological states, a living system of pure potential. The workshop became a battlefield of technological understanding. Imperial scanning systems met human adaptive interfaces. Quantum protocols discovered computational pathways that shouldn't exist. Each moment was a negotiation of technological potential. Adaptive response protocols are unprecedented, the lead Imperial operative reported. But the tone carried something unexpected. Curiosity. Respect. Queen Xia-Lin understood something profound in that moment. Technological superiority was not about advanced starting components. It was about the ability to see potential where others saw only limitations. And in this mountain workshop, human potential was rewriting the very understanding of technological intervention. The Imperial Recovery Team would return with a report that would challenge everything their civilization understood about emerging technological species. This was not a simple crash site rescue. This was first contact of the most profound kind. Kai Rodriguez continued to work, seemingly unaware of the profound technological revolution unfolding around him. To him, this was simply problem-solving. To the Celestial Imperium, this was the discovery of a species that would change everything. The quantum conference chamber materialized around Queen Xialin, a floating computational space that existed between physical reality and pure information. Imperial protocol dictated an immediate hearing, a comprehensive review of the unprecedented encounter that had challenged every established galactic protocol. But this would be no ordinary hearing. Holographic representations of the highest Imperial Council flickered into existence, quantum-threaded avatars of the most powerful decision-makers in the Celestial Imperium surrounded her. Their collective gaze carried the weight of millennia of technological supremacy. "Explain the quantum anomaly," the primary adjudicator demanded. Not a question, a command. Xialin's quantum-enhanced perception began to reconstruct the encounter. Not through standard Imperial reporting protocols, but through a complex neural narrative that captured every microscopic detail of her rescue by a human from a planet categorized as technologically nascent. The holographic interfaces began to transform. What started as a standard hearing became something far more profound. Images of Kai Rodriguez's workshop materialized, not clinical Imperial representations, but living, breathing recordings that captured the essence of human technological creativity. Each component, each improvised solution became a testament to something the Imperial Council had never considered possible. The human identified as Kai Rodriguez. Xialin began, her voice a complex harmonic that carried both biological and technological undertones, represents a form of technological adaptation that challenges our entire understanding of species development. The council members exchanged quantum-threaded glances. Centuries of galactic classification were about to be rewritten. Computational modules began to analyze the data, not just the physical evidence, but the quantum essence of the encounter. The way Kai had rebuilt her ship was less a repair and more a complete reimagining of technological possibility. Adaptive technological potential, Xialin continued, exists beyond our current classification systems. The human did not simply repair. He translated. He transformed. The workshop recordings played out in intricate detail, custom interfaces that rewrote themselves in real time. Technological components repurposed with a creativity that defied linear thinking. Each moment was a challenge to Imperial understanding. The primary adjudicator's quantum signature flickered, not from technical interference, from something far more dangerous: comprehension. "The species we categorize as primitive," one council member interjected, "demonstrates computational creativity beyond our current understanding." Xialin presented her final piece of evidence, not a report, a living demonstration. The partially reconstructed ship, a hybrid of Imperial technology and human innovation, began to materialize in the quantum conference chamber. It was neither Imperial design nor human construction. It was something entirely new. The council fell silent. Quantum computational systems that had catalogued thousands of civilizations encountered something unprecedented, a form of technological potential that existed outside of established understanding. "Recommendation," Xialin announced, her voice carrying the weight of her royal lineage and her newfound understanding: immediate reclassification of human technological potential. The implications were profound. This was more than a simple report. This was a moment that would reshape galactic understanding of technological evolution. The Imperial Council's quantum signatures began to pulse. Computational systems that had existed for millennia found themselves confronting a fundamental challenge to their entire conceptual framework. Humans were not just another emerging species. They were something else entirely. A species that could look at technological limitations and see pure potential. As the quantum conference chamber began to dissolve, one thing became clear. The encounter in a mountain workshop had just changed everything. The galaxy would never be the same. The Mountain Research Station stood as a silent witness to transformation. Kai Rodriguez moved with purposeful calm, seemingly unaware that he had just altered the course of galactic history. Outside, the alpine landscape remained unchanged. Pine forests reaching toward snow-capped peaks, a world blissfully ignorant of the extraordinary events that had unfolded within its quiet wilderness. Queen Xiaolin's quantum-enhanced perception studied her unlikely savior. Humans fascinated her in ways her imperial training had never prepared her to understand. What appeared to be a simple rescue had become something far more profound, a moment of species-level revelation. "Your approach to problem-solving defies conventional understanding," she observed, her voice a complex harmonic that blended biological and technological resonances. Kai looked up from a workbench covered in partially reconstructed technological components. "Problem-solving is just another form of creativity," he responded, adjusting a custom interface that seemed to breathe with computational potential. The partially reconstructed ship, now a hybrid of imperial technology and human innovation, hummed with a unique energy. It was neither purely alien nor entirely human. Something entirely new had emerged from their collaboration. Part 8. Transcendence. The Mountain Research Station stood as a silent witness to transformation. Kai Rodriguez moved with purposeful calm, seemingly unaware that he had just altered the course of galactic history. Outside, the alpine landscape remained unchanged. Pine forests reaching toward snow-capped peaks, a world blissfully ignorant of the extraordinary events that had unfolded within its quiet wilderness. Queen Xiaolin's quantum-enhanced perception studied her unlikely savior. Humans fascinated her in ways her imperial training had never prepared her to understand. What appeared to be a simple rescue had become something far more profound, a moment of species-level revelation. "Your approach to problem-solving defies conventional understanding," she observed, her voice a complex harmonic that blended biological and technological resonances. Kai looked up from a workbench covered in partially reconstructed technological components. "Problem-solving is just another form of creativity," he responded, adjusting a custom interface that seemed to breathe with computational potential. The partially reconstructed ship, now a hybrid of imperial technology and human innovation, hummed with a unique energy. It was neither purely alien nor entirely human. Something entirely new had emerged from their collaboration. Quantum communication interfaces that Kai had developed continued to pulse with an intelligence that challenged every known technological paradigm. Each component told a story of adaptation, of seeing potential beyond initial design. "The Imperial Council will struggle to comprehend this," Xiaolin noted, her quantum perception scanning the intricate networks Kai had created. He smiled, a gesture that carried more complexity than any technological interface. "Understanding is just the first step of transformation." The research station became a living testament to interspecies potential. Technological components that should have been incompatible found new ways of communicating. Computational pathways emerged that defied traditional scientific understanding. Outside, the first hints of dawn began to paint the mountain landscape. Inside, a revolution was taking shape. Xiaolin understood now what made humans truly extraordinary. It wasn't raw technological power. It was the ability to see beyond existing limitations, to look at a problem, and not just find a solution, but reimagine the entire conceptual framework. "We offer you more than rescue," she said, her communication transcending traditional linguistic barriers. "We offer a different way of understanding potential." Kai continued working, his hands moving with a precision that was both scientific and artistic. Each adjustment was a conversation, each component a potential bridge between different ways of thinking. The ship, their creation, began to stabilize, not just physically, but conceptually. It represented something unprecedented in galactic history, a true collaboration that went beyond technological exchange. Quantum communication channels that the Imperial Council had deemed impossible now pulsed with living intelligence. Computational interfaces that should have collapsed under the weight of interspecies complexity now danced with adaptive potential. Most species see boundaries, Kai explained, more to himself than to Xilin. We see opportunities. The research station's advanced systems began to interface with the reconstructed ship, not as separate entities, but as a unified computational organism. Each system learned from the other. Each interface became a conversation. As morning light filled the workshop, something extraordinary became clear. This was more than a rescue, more than a technological exchange. This was first contact of the most profound kind. A moment where two fundamentally different species looked beyond their differences and discovered something universal: the pure potential of adaptive intelligence. The reconstructed ship hummed to life, not with the rigid precision of imperial technology, not with the raw energy of human innovation, but with something entirely new. A living testament to what could happen when different ways of thinking found common ground. Kai Rodriguez and Queen Xilin stood together, watching as a new era of galactic understanding began to take shape, one computational pathway at a time.